Your team could have been trash ass like two naked butt cheeks on the toilet. Both of us couldn't even jump over a Saturday newspaper at the time. You ain't shit, Mr. Technical. It's party time. Oh, it's party time. We're having a party.
As always, we like to start this program with what we call a moment in time, where I take Sheed back to, he doesn't know what's coming. I surprise him with this, and I try and open up Pandora's box and get some stories and get some thoughts about some shit that he did in his career, good or bad. We've done both, and we've done it in the middle. I'm getting real deep at this point now that we're almost 20 episodes into the show. It's getting a little bit more difficult for me to find situations and or funny viral videos that he or you haven't seen. But I think I succeeded today. I'm going to take you back, Sheed, to June 10th, 2010. Should be obvious.
Oh, I was with Boston.
Yeah, okay. So there's only one thing that occurs in June. It's the NBA Finals. And in this case, you are in Boston.
Game 7.
Okay, so this one particularly is Game 4 in Boston. I don't want to say message, but it looks like to me, without being in the huddle with you, that there was a directive. We're going to leave Sheed by himself, guarding Pau Gasol. He's not going to front him so that we try and help over the top or we try and take the ball away from him. You were just letting him catch about, let's say, 10 to 15 feet with his back to the rim, playing him straight up. And at this point in your career, you're now in your second decade in the NBA going up against Pau Gasol at what is arguably the peak of his powers. That's a pretty damn big assignment for someone that has that many miles on the odometer that you did. What was the reason for Doc doing that? Was it because you still had your athleticism and length to influence Pau's like face-up mid-range jump shot? Maybe his ability to put the ball on the floor and get to the rim, that you had quicker foot speed than Kendrick Perkins or Big Baby Davis or whoever was flanking you, on the Celtics. But it sure looked like that was on purpose, that Sheed's fine by himself, which to me on paper kind of stands out. I know you now, but a veteran against a star center seems to me on paper it should be an advantage to Pau Gasol. But on this night, and some nights during the finals, you were able to carry that load on your shoulders. I mean,
well,
is it just
at that time, both guys went down. KG, he was a little banged up, and Kendrick Perkins, he was banged up for us in that Game 7. That's what made me play a little bit more. But to answer your question, it was a personal challenge. As I said, at the time, Powell was one of the best power forwards in the league right then. So, and he was younger. So, of course, you have that, the old bull versus the young bull, the old lion versus the young lion. Let me see how me as that old lion can hold up. But the one good thing that I already knew going into this battle with him is the fact that he's not athletic. And at the time, my athleticism wasn't what it was. So, but I was cool with that. So, both of us couldn't even jump over a Saturday newspaper at the time. So I was good with that. After that, it all became skill. You know what I'm saying? Okay, it all became placement. All right, if I get advantage right here on the block, then boom, boom, he got me. But if I get advantage on the block, then boom, boom, as a defender, I got him. Now it's going to be a harder shot. I'm still in the play. And that's one thing we talked about in the meeting. Told Glenn, like, yo, hey, I don't need no help. Y'all stay home. That's going to make it easier for everybody overall, because now you're not worried about helping. You can focus more on your man. So now it won't be no backdoor cuts. You know what I'm saying? There won't be no lives or anything like that, because I got him. Now, if he score, he going to score. But that shit is not going to be easy. It wasn't no easy dunks for him. Like, he was ripping that West Coast up at the time when the Lakers went to the finals. You know what I'm saying? And during that whole time, it was like, okay, all right, so now I know how I got to play him. And then, it's just from memory back when, my latter years in Detroit as well. So, Powell's a good adversary, though, bro. I'm not going to hold you. I'm not going to front.
Well, it was certainly a different change of pace compared to the other Laker that you were asked to guard in your Detroit and Portland days in Shaquille O'Neal, where we've heard those stories. Powell is more finesse than power, I guess. pun intended there. But yeah, for him
But
to
he caught an old sheet though. He caught an old sheet. If he would caught like a you know what I'm saying, a late '90s sheet, early 2000 sheet, oh man, fucking destroyed it. That for sure, no doubt about it. But he caught an older sheet, and he did what he did. I'm not no knock against him. He did what he did, but because I was an old bull by that time.
Yeah, and also the team that you're on, whether it's KG, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, you got ball handlers who are going to be stretching the floor. One of your greatest talents was pulling other big men into the deep end 30 feet away from the rim because they had to guard your three-point shot, and getting Powell involved on defense would have been something that he may not have seen up to that point. I'm not particularly sure who they played in the Western Conference Finals that year. Maybe it was Denver. But there were no real bigs in 2010 that were stretching the floor 30 feet. And we've talked about this before, that I think that's why a big reason as to why you are what you are today.
And one thing about it too, he also lucked up because at that time, KG and myself, we were both older dogs. But when KG got in the game and Powell had to guard him, that's when he got into a little bit more foul trouble. He had to play a little bit more defense because the ball was going through KG. But when I came in the game, I knew, but I already knew it, and I was cool with it. The ball wasn't going through me because I was either in the game at that time with Paul or Ray. You know what I'm saying? And so I was cool with that, setting screens and all that. Hey, I played my role. That's what I was there for. I played my role. It wasn't no complaints. But you lucky you caught that quarter old sheet, because man, I'm telling you, would have ripped him my asshole if I was that young sheet. Because the ball now, the offense running through me like in my Portland days, in my early Detroit days. Shit.
Now I want to load NBA 2K, do the historical players, and do one of those one-on-one King of the Hill games that you can do. And let's just have Sheen, and we'll see what happens. Let's simulate it with the computer and who comes out on top. But fun matchup there. Memorable finals matchup, end of the career, as she puts it. Old Bull versus the young Bull. Ultimately, the Lakers did win the series, but to see you step in. Yeah, no, of course. They earned it, but to see you step in there and take on what is the most difficult front court assignment in the NBA at the time at your age, thought we might take a little trip down memory lane, and for you to be standing like, I got him. Y'all go deal with Kobe. Go deal with Sasha Vujicic. Don't let him get up some easy shots. Kind of a big deal. So that is a moment in time with Sheet. Now, a theme of that finals was home court advantage, as we saw the Celtics take care of business there in Game 4. I think ultimately the Lakers end up winning that Game 7 back in LA. Home court matters. That's obvious. Home court really matters.
I don't know, Rob. I don't know. Well, if you're talking about now, then possibly. But in my era, I don't know. Myself and a lot of other guys that I played with on that Portland team and on that Detroit team and even on that Boston team, like, we didn't mind playing on the road. Like, that's all part of the thrill.
Let's get into this.
To go into your home and kick your ass in front of your fucking fans, shit. Man, all day. I love it. I love playing on the road more than I do at home. Now, don't get me wrong. At home, of course, you got that home momentum. You got your crowd. They're going to be on your side. But it's also good to hear that negative. You know what I'm saying? You ain't shit, Mr. Technical. Oh, you go ahead and foul him. All he going to do is foul you back and get thrown out the game, this and that. I loved all of that right there, because when we came out with that W, you heard that right there. That silence, that's all it was. So that's, for me, that's what made it fun. Plus, as I said before, I love just interacting with the fans when we on the road, because they, especially if they really think they got a good team or a good chance of beating us, they fans gonna get reckless. And that's when I love it. Like, yeah, all right, let me go ahead and show you. Let me shut you up real quick. Just because you sitting near my bench and you got free tickets, and let me go ahead and ignore you and talk to somebody who is a season ticket holder.
Okay, so this is interesting. I was going to use that sheet as a segue to get to our first topic, but now that you brought it up, I'm going to expand on this a little bit more. So a veteran team like the Celtics or the Pistons sees that you got this raucous fan base. You're feeling it, and that almost motivates us more to come in here and kick your ass. Okay. But playing on the road is not just the game itself. And you have spoken to this about if you have to travel from Detroit to, let's say, Miami or Boston, you got to sleep in a hotel. You're away from your family. Your meals change. You got to be on a plane. Your practice schedule is different. Is there, with the advantages of playing at home, that you get to wake up in your bed, you get to go to the facility in which you have all your clothes in the locker room? How much value do you put in that as opposed to the whole aspect of we just get to shut your fans up and that's fun for us?
Well, not too much, for the simple fact I'm still home, so I still got my homely duties. I might have to take the kids to school. I might have to pick the kids up from school. You know what I'm saying? I might have to interact with projects, do this and that. So now when I'm home, that's when I only focus on the gym when I'm headed to the gym. And this is just for me personal, y'all. I'm only focused on the gym when I'm headed to the gym, because at the time I was married, my kids were younger. You know, they're all grown now, but my kids were younger. And so, you know, I had daddy duties. You know, I'm going to the store, going to the market, all that. Okay, yeah, I know I got a game later, but shit, this come first. So when I'm on the way to the game, all right, now I'm focused, I'm locked in. All right, I'm guarding this guy tonight, or you know, I know I'm gonna have to double a lot tonight, or do this, do that, whatever the case may have been, wherever I was at, what team I played on. But to me, that's the big difference. Now, when I'm on the road, I'm straight locking in. I'm straight locking in now because I don't have those other daddy duties. You know, instead of me actually having to go to school, which could take, even though his school was around the corner, but with traffic and then the school traffic, you talking about 45 minutes, and we only live a mile and a half from his school. You know what I'm saying? Things like that. Opposing to now when I'm on the road, I can get that call. I can get that quick call. You know, at the time I was married, I get a quick call to my wife, got the kids in the car with her. Yeah, I'm on the way home. I'm on the way to McDonald's for the boys, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, let me talk to the boys. You know what I'm saying? Then that's about, 15, 20 minutes. So now, all right, I can go ahead to sleep. I can go ahead to finish focusing on what I need to do for that night's game. But, man, I always love going into somebody else's house. What? Like, for me, when I got with the Pistons, the best two places that I love to go and shut fans up was Indiana, when they had my guy Jermaine O'Neal, Reg Miller, at the time, Ron Artest, a.k.a. Meta World Peace,
Steven Jackson.
Jamal Tinsley, Jamal Tinsley, that same squad that we faced off with during the whole Malice in the Palace. Oh, man, I love going out there because they were great rivals. It was going to be a great game, especially during the playoffs. It was hot outside. And I also love going down to Miami when you had a young D-Wade when he first came into the league. And, of course, Shaq was Big Diesel then. He wasn't as athletic, but for him, he was still a force, and you still had to double him and focus on him. But, those are the two places that I love going and shutting the fans up to most when I guess when I got to Detroit.
Okay, so that was not the answer I was expecting, but in a good way. I figured going on the road, I didn't even think about being away from your family can also be a good thing because you're not doing daddy duty. Yeah. You don't have to go through the drive-through at McDonald's on your way to the gym. You just kind of check in, and now you lock in and focus on basketball. And
it's not saying you're a bad person or a bad parent. No. It's not saying
you're doing your job. No, the same way an accountant that has to go to another city for work is going to check in with their family. They can't be there physically, but they're trying to pay their bills and do work, but they can focus there. Shit, we saw that in the bubble, Sheed, with when all these players were away from distractions in their families. Everyone's shooting the lights out. They're focusing on basketball and basketball only because that's all that there was to do there. And as a result...
And it made it what? Better basketball.
It sure felt more pure. Right now, life being involved in crowds, again, a conversation for another day, might make it more entertaining. But the basketball itself, when you're on the road, from your point of view, it does sound like it allows you to just focus on beating that team's ass and shutting the fans up because I took care of everything with the family earlier today. And as a result, I may not have my home gym, my home locker, and my routine when I wake up. But those are willing sacrifices because it's allowing me to concentrate. And the whole reason for asking you this in the first place is trying to make sense then. This is going to be even more difficult for me to ask now, but I'm trying to make sense of why the Golden State Warriors are in the middle of a dynasty. They're on when we're filming this, they're on a 10-game losing streak on the road. How does a team that's been around and done this so many times lose that many games in a row on the road? And they're Jekyll and Hyde because they're so good at home. We know what they're capable of. Hell, they're reigning defending champions. So I was going to ask you, how do you make sense of this? And now I'll really ask you it, considering it sounds like being on the road is easier.
So let me tell you this. In the words of my guy, Trey Lee, it's party time. Oh, it's party time. We're having a party. So come on. Man, these guys is partying. They doing what they supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? They champs. They're part of a dynasty. Look, here it is. What they're doing right now, 20 years from now, we talking let's not even 20. Not even 20. Let's talk about, this is what, 23? Let's talk about 15 years from now. 15 years from now, a majority of the Warriors guys will not be in the NBA. So now, they're going to be off doing a whole separate branch of business or doing, whatever in their life. But guess what? When they had them reunions, when they have those get-togethers, on the road doing some big games or whatever, because somehow, some way, you're going to remain affiliated, one, with the NBA, two, with that team you won championships with. Those are your brothers for life. Mm-hmm. Those are your brothers for life. You always going to be connected with these dudes. So right now, man, they partying. It's like they going to, different cities, having different parties, this and that, this and that. They having fun, enjoying it. It's going to give us something to talk about at the 30th year reunion. Yo, remember that time we was in so-and-so and he got drunk and he fell down the step, or, whatever the case may have been for that good memory to have lasted for that long. Yo, that's what they're doing right now. And when they're home, again, okay, we're home. We got to defend this home record, focus in, lock in, because we got to let these cats know, like, look, when you come out here to us, it's going to be tough. It ain't going to be easy. We might have lost during the regular season at y'all spot if we an East Coast team. A West Coast team, 9 times out of 10, we probably split with y'all because we ain't just going to lay over like that. We ain't no easy gravy, you know what I mean? We ain't just pour us over all the fish. Nah, we going to have our own shit, you know what I mean? So now, with the way that the Warriors are playing, okay, Steph's trying to get back into the groove, and then, you got the whole chirping with them in Memphis. Memphis wants to prove like, hey, we're the hot young guns in the league, and the Warriors wants to prove like, look, we the vets of this, we running this shit. This is us. Y'all young pups, y'all settle down. Y'all gonna have y'all time, but it's just not now. But that's I think how it plays for them. They're pretty much enjoying themselves on the road, man. You know what I'm saying? Again, it's less responsibility, so I might hang out an extra hour or so at the bar, at the restaurant, the club, wherever the case may be. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to come in and report at 7 o'clock.
Are you telling me, Sheed, that when did you guys win that title, that chip? 2004, 2005? Are you telling me that 2004? Okay. Are you telling me in that 2004, 2005 season that you guys on the road maybe took an extra hour at the bar, at the club before coming back that following year? We're the champs. We're going to live it up on the road. We might as well.
We had a motto. But here's the thing. Our motto was we party hard on and off the court. Because we out there partying on that court. Because we enjoying this shit. We locking y'all up. You know what I'm saying? We strapping up. You know what I'm saying? And like you just said a minute ago, we're taking individual responsibility for your man. So now it's like, on that run, on that good run that we always had, okay, certain individuals like Chauncey, like, yo, y'all stay home. I got him. Because why? It could be a personal matchup. Same thing with Rick, Tay, Ben, whoever. Tayshaun, all of that. So it could be a personal matchup. So now, we know what we're doing. It's like, all right, we went out last night. Like the night before the game, it's like, all right, we went out last night. We enjoyed ourselves. But all right, now it's time to lock in. So it was that one, discipline, and two, respect of the game, and three, respect of our opponent. Even though we knew that, okay, we was a heavy team, a heavy favorite in the East Coast every night, we never disrespected anybody. You know what I'm saying? No matter who it was, your team could have been trash ass like two naked butt cheeks on the toilet. But we didn't. We didn't disrespect you. Why? Because you were a part of this elite club. You were still part of the NBA. It's millions of other dudes who want to be here with these hundreds of dudes. So we didn't disrespect nobody, but man, we just went out there, had fun, and kicked ass. Yo, we gotta get back home tomorrow. Why? Oh shit, man, I gotta help my son with this damn science report. Yeah, or it could have been look, and the crazy shit about it. Oh my gosh, this is some of the best parts. So, you know, with having that family, so you're on the road. So now you might have to get some shit for your kids for their projects. Like, oh, you know, your wife maybe couldn't find it while at the Target there or this and that. Hey, run by Target, this and that. And you like, ah, damn, all right, let me run over Target. Boom, what did they do? They got it. So now, you know, we know that we could bring it home on a private plane or whatever like that, case may be. And it made it good for shopping for the kids because – you know, most people don't know that when you visit different cities, go to different cities, they got different shit. Every Macy's ain't got the same, you know, the same shorts. You know what I'm saying? Every mall don't have this or the same that as you're traveling across the country. So now you're in, let's say we're in LA and now you got the kids and the wife, they like, oh, could you do this, do that, do that, do that. So now you end up shopping and going here, going there. But, you know, it's all fun. But I'm telling you, in my opinion, I think that's what those Warriors are doing right now, man. They're enjoying this life, man. Yo, we sitting on top of the hill. We got like 4 chips. We trying to get 5 right now, 6 or 7. Hey, let's do it. I understand that feeling, man. I understand that feeling. Trust me. The exuberation that they have inside of their souls, it's like, all right, small setbacks with some injuries, but that don't stop their hunger.
If I could use a movie analogy, it may not be accurate, but I'm thinking of the Rocky anthology, the first of which was 2015 for the Warriors, where they got their first title. They were the upstart underdogs that drafted that team and built it. Rocky 2 is the rematch. You have 2017 when they bring in Kevin Durant after just losing one of the most memorable finals of all time in dramatic fashion in 2016. Mm-hmm. Rocky 3, he's become the champ. He gets a little fat with championships and fame, if you will. He takes his foot off the gas pedal a little bit, and you got Mr. T hitting a frozen,
coming in and beating his ass.
Concrete walls in Chicago, getting ready for the playoffs, in this case in the NBA. Now, of course, I probably would make Rocky 4 somehow last year's finals. That step, they made the comeback to embrace being the champ. I know that bounces around, but I'm just thinking of, well, you know what? You've earned the right to work hard and play hard because the work hard part netted a championship. And in your case with the Pistons, it did. So the next year, you could earn. It would be really difficult for someone in the front office or ownership to be like, why are our guys doing this? Well, they're the champs. They clearly know. You have to trust them at that point that their resume and that their experience, they can afford the ability. Right? Maybe the Warriors are at that point now that they've won so many titles and they've been through it so many times. You know, Steve Kerr and Joe Lacob and Bob Myers aren't micromanaging them like you need to be back at the hotel by 10 p.m. That is not how you handle a dynasty, right? And also with these players, Steph, Clay, and Draymond, at one point, they all had 0 titles. They were still the upstart, super fun underdog that was changing the game. And now you got Clay at the end of the bench counting his rings. And while that, I guess we've spoken about Draymond and Dylan Brooks, and it's all obvious at that point. He's just stating facts. And you said you're the young pups that are coming up, and you know we're the establishment. That's all obvious. But how teams handle being a dynasty or a championship team, how do they respond the next year? It's really damn difficult for those of you watching this to keep a dynasty together. We got a glimpse of that during the Last Dance documentary during COVID on just the contracts. Like the players thought they might be worth the same as this other player. Why is he getting paid more? Shit, I'm going to leave. Horace Grant, I'm off to Orlando. Scottie Pippen's like, I'm going to get out of here if you don't give me a new deal. There's egos involved now that they have rings, right? The business behind it is one thing, let alone the road trips. 3, the actual basketball itself. That's why dynasties are so rare. Because just having a good team is only one of about 4 pillars that matter. And hopefully she gave you a little look behind the curtain right here. Also, at the time of filming this, this is the day that technically Ja Morant's suspension is coming to an end. Now, he's not going to play tonight due to conditioning reasons, but it sounds like he's coming back pretty damn soon. And as we reintegrate him into the NBA atmosphere / grind / whatever you want to call it, season campaign, some people are certainly questioning, how do you get therapy in 6 days and then just go right back to putting him back in the situation? That's not the way therapy works. Now, we're not in the room with Ja. We don't know about his family. This question that I'm going to ask you is more in regards to a conversation that we've had in the past about someone like a Udonis Haslem that has been a player coach that's been in a Miami Heat locker room coaching Jimmy Butler, who is technically a veteran, but a lot of these young kids. And I look at Memphis's roster sheet. I'm going from top to bottom here, and I'm asking myself, who's their vet? Who's their Sheed on the Celtics? Who's their Sheed on the Knicks that could go in there and get everyone's head straight and have the respect of the room? Is it Steven Adams? I think he's tried to have a closed-door meeting in the past. How many?
That's it. That's it. Right there. And look, it's crazy. It's crazy you mentioned that because I kind of sort of knew where you was going with it. So I started looking. I was like, hold on, let me look up and see how long he's been in the league. And he's been in the league long enough to be that vet on that team. So it's all on Steven Adams, in my opinion. So now,
wait, hold on. Before you keep going, though, is Steven Adams, does he have to be that type of alpha personality? Because I've been in the league for so long. Now I'm the leader just because of my veteran years. He may not be that type of person, though.
Yep. Oh, well, you are because you've been in the league that long. And you've been on teams where you have young upstarts and you've seen how it either went for the good or went into haywire because of the veterans or whatever on the team. Remember, he had veterans when he first came into the league. So now it's, as you that older player, it's like, look, okay, and we all know, is Steven Adams the go-to guy? No. Is he the best defender on the team? No. Is he the most athletic? No. But what he has is that veteran experience. And that's key. That's golden, especially if you look at today's NBA where you don't have a bunch of veterans. You know what I'm saying? The ones that we do are our superstars, but at some point they on their way out the league. You know what I'm saying? So now, how are we going to mold this next crop coming in if we don't have no veterans? And as a veteran, it's on him. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to be the star of the team to voice your opinion and for your team to respect you. No. You know why you gonna respect me? Because God damn it, I got experience. You was watching me when you was in fucking high school, when you was in college. You was watching me on this team or that team in the playoffs. So yeah, I got this experience. Listen to me when I tell y'all I know what it takes to get over this hump. You don't. You haven't been there. I have. So shut the fuck up and listen. That's the type of talk he got to have. That's what he got to do to set these cats straight. Because one thing that you got to remember, okay, I like what young boy Dylan is doing. Okay, you woofing off, you know what I'm saying? You going at it with the old heads, with the vets of the league. You woofing on like, yo, we the young guns, you know what I'm saying? I'm Lou Diamond Phillips. Ja is Emilio Estevez. You know what I'm saying? So we the young guns. We coming in this joint. We fucking here. But yo, and they like, you know, the Warriors like, yo, Clay, Dre, like, yo, okay, I hear you, but slow down though, young boy. You ain't done shit yet. You know what I'm saying? You might have killed some of the other young upstarts out here, but as far as the veterans, you ain't done nothing yet. So yo, that's where it's, hey. All right, Steven Adams, look, we got to start. If you're going to say this shit, then you got to go out here and prove it. As a veteran. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay, so for the sake of creating content, let me play devil's advocate here and challenge you on this. Okay? Let me challenge you on this because Steven Adams, I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure he's still young compared to us. He's in his mid-20s, all right? While he has a lot of experience in the league in terms of years played in it, let's not act like he is a sensei in a dojo and he's been around for 70 years, right? Okay, so hold on. That's the first part. Second part is Steven Adams is the youngest of what I believe is 12 kids in a family. He's from New Zealand. Morant is a kid from South Carolina. They come from completely other side of the world backgrounds. So
True.
for the reason for bringing all of this up is I just listened to you say how valuable experience is, and it's almost the trump card. It's almost the above all, you have to respect that. But now that society and the game, technology, science have evolved in 2023, do you think these guys can still play the I've been around longer than you have card? Because Ja probably has, other than being teammates with Steven Adams, he may like him personally, but if Steven Adams tries to tell him about his life and why he should change it, I feel like there's a disconnect there.
Nah. That's not what I'm saying though. I'm not saying about his life. I'm gonna give my opinion because everybody's life is everybody's life. But you can't let that carry over into this locker room. That's the difference. That's where if I'm that veteran with Steven Adams, like man, I played on this so-and-so team and this happened to this dude outside of the gym, but you ain't never hear about it in the interviews. You ain't never hear it come back up, you know what I'm saying, in our locker room. No, they dealt with that outside of it. And if that person chose to share with you like, yo, yeah, I had to go to court today, or, you know what I'm saying, this happened with the case or that happened, whatever the case may be, they chose to share with you. But they didn't fucking have to. For real, but for that good teammate, like, look, all right, I'm going to put it out here, but my focus is with y'all. Yeah, this happened to me, that happened to me, but look, I'm locked in. I'm leaving all of that outside of that. I'm going to deal with that after practice or before practice, you know what I'm saying, after the game, before the game, whatever the case may be. That's when I'm going to deal with that shit. But as that veteran, man, I had a veteran who was my vet, Chris Webber's vet, George Murason's vet, and Juwan Howard's vet, because since we were all the center/power forwards, and this guy's name was Bob McCann. Now, Bob, you know, he played in the CBA at the time. It was the Canadian Basketball Association, not the Chinese. The Canadian Basketball Association used to be like the feeder program sometimes for the NBA. So the CBA, he was big over in the CBA. So when my rookie season, you know, just talking with him in conversation, and he like, you know, Sinbei, like, man, shit, I've been in this league, you know, in and out the league and traveling across the world playing professional ball for the last 14, 15 years. So, damn, like, you've been on this professional shit, like, when I was in elementary school. So it's that respect level. You know what I'm saying? Like, damn, you've been a part of big programs, big games, big championships, or as we like to throw around now, the dynasty. Like, veterans that have been a part of something that these younger players haven't on this level. So yeah, definitely. He might, again, Steven Adams, so what? He might be like, and I'm just speaking hypothetically. I'm not saying, you know, this is a fact. He might be averaging like 3 points, 2 rebounds. It don't matter. And like 5 minutes. It don't matter. Guess what? He's been in big games. He's been on big teams. He's been on that big stage that the other guys on that team haven't been on. So they need that. They need to start listening to him. That's where he needs to speak up a little bit more. And it don't matter if I'm fucking from New Zealand and he from South Carolina, or he's from Australia, I'm from Africa, I'm from Northeast Philly, dudes from South Bronx. It don't matter. Guess what? We're all on that same page because we're all one professional athletes in a short volume of players in a professional league across the world. If you think about the years that the NBA has been in existence, it hasn't been a lot of players. Mm-hmm. But I'm part of this. So now it's something special about you while you here. That's what I gotta respect. It might not be the same shit I'm on, but I gotta respect what you on. You could be a good rebounder, good defender. You could be great at setting screens. You could be a great bench/locker room dude. Whatever the case may be, you're here for a reason. You're a professional in the NBA where, as I said before, millions of people are outside of that door like this. You know what that is, right? They looking in. They looking in. They want to be in. So you got to respect that. I don't care what level you're on. Yeah, and Ja is a young upstart star. He's going to be the face of the league. And we're going to talk about this one day, like, oh, remember when Ja had this gun situation, this and that, da 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 da, and now look at him. He's blossoming to the veteran player. And hopefully, he gets that chance to experience some championships or going to the finals and winning one, or what I'm saying, just being like that culture team, that one team for Memphis where everybody's talking about years later, and then when he goes back to Memphis, everybody gonna love him and he shines. That's what's gonna happen with his career. This is a speed bump for him right now in that Memphis team. This is all the speed bump. The whole Dylan Brooks shit, that's all basketball, and I'm trying to get where y'all at. In my opinion, that's just jealousy shit. That's why I said all they gotta do is go like this. So, but for what he needs to do for him, in my opinion, like, I got to listen to my vets. And his vet on that team could be Steven Adams. And here's the other thing. It doesn't even necessarily have to be Steven Adams on that team. It could be somebody else he's closer with in the NBA or even around that Memphis Grizzlies program who has been there.
Sitting
in my opinion, this is all my opinion.
No. I learned the reason why I enjoy doing the show so much with you is because I feel like I learned something new, and I would have been on the opposite side of the road, being on the road being more difficult than home, and also why someone should look up to Steven Adams, even if you don't have anything in common with him in life, the value of experience. And to your point, how many people in the world play in the NBA? Fraction of a percentage. How many people in the NBA survive in the NBA for more than 5 years? Then it's an even
to be a veteran
sliver of the sliver, right? Some people come in for 10 days and they leave, and you never hear from them again. That was their NBA tenure. True. There's only so many vets and so many stars out there. So for someone that does make it that far, whether Steven Adams likes it or not, sounds like, at least from your opinion, it's got to be on him to be that voice in the locker room, because Zach Randolph was sitting courtside on Saturday, Sheed. And I don't know if Zach Randolph has had any communication with Ja Morant. He's a Memphis Grizzlies legend. He had some off-the-court issues that I don't want to say are similar, but at least in the same neighborhood as what Ja is going through. So if anyone could get through that, there's a whole bunch of similarities there, right?
All I'm going to say is you just gave a great example. Zach went through his shit in the NBA, dealing with the whole dogs and all that shit. Oh, he was hated, looked down, frowned upon, this and that. But guess what? Now, today, that Memphis community loves Zachary Randolph.
Of course.
They love him. They love him because of what he brought to the city as far as that style player. We in the playoff. That's why they, if I'm not mistaken, they drafted Powell. Didn't they draft Powell? Did Memphis draft Powell? And that's why they brought him there. Like, all right, we need somebody else to go with this young star that we got to take all the pressure off of him, this and that. So, that's, in my opinion, that's why, they probably asked Zach to come back or brought Zach there to go ahead and talk to him because, similar situations as far as, coming from the background, with the home and this and that. So, it's funny. It works itself out.
Yeah, and Zach's, just to clarify for people watching, Zach was there. I saw him. He was receiving a Tennessee Sports Hall of Fame, like, honorary inductee something. So he had a reason for being there. But Zach appears in Memphis right at this time when the Ja stuff's going down. And whether they spoke or not, it was more so just one of those examples of someone that maybe Ja's reaching out to outside of the locker room. And it was just my first thought that maybe the stars aligned, right? So, okay, that's interesting. That's the veteran presence in the locker room, I think, has a new meaning after hearing that explanation from you, because there's only so many Udonis Haslem here. And
it backfired on the NBA.
And now I almost want to ask you about when you joined the Knicks, because that was at the very, very end of your career. They still had vets on the team in Carmelo Anthony. They had J.R. Smith. I think even Amari Stoudemire might have been there when you were there. But you are the Udonis of that team. And now in 2023, Now, 10 years later, a veteran in today's league is in their mid-20s because Ja Morant plays right away. These rookies, Luka Doncic, Ja Morant, Zion, they're all stars the moment they touch the floor. So by the time they get to their 5th year and they're done with their rookie contract, they're already borderline all-star superstars. They become veterans a lot faster because they have much more burden on their shoulders. Rookies of the past would barely see the floor in the first year. The top rookies would barely see the floor, let alone taking on the responsibilities and burdens of carrying the entire franchise. So they are being asked to become veterans a lot quicker than I think the rookies of past. They get older. By the time they start getting burned, they start getting run and becoming all-stars. They may have been in their mid-20s. Also, the way they spent 4 years at college back in the day, they weren't one-and-dones. So by the time that they finally got money and hit the floor, they were older people with more life experience. Ja Morant's still a super young guy who needs that presence in the locker room. I mean, I know that team, the J.R. Smith, Carmelo Anthony Knicks team, at that point in their lives, they had been seen through it all, but there had to be an occasion where you're like, all right, y'all listen, you got to either cut out blank, stop blank, or we're going to end this here right now. And I don't think Carmelo Anthony, JR, and Amari, they probably feel like they're the ones that were responsible for doing that. But when you show up for a year, does that dynamic change, even with a superstar?
Well, here's the thing. For us veterans, it didn't change. We knew the fucking ball wasn't going through us. You know what I'm saying? We knew, of course, yeah, we there, but we knew that at that time in our careers, we weren't the man. So here's the veteran team that we had, which made that Knicks team, to me, such a great team. And one of the I put us in the top 10 Knicks teams because you had a lot of other great Knicks teams. Now, I'm not going to disrespect them like that. But the team we had was pretty special. You know, and our veterans, myself, I won a championship. Jason Kidd won a championship, right?
Right.
So that's the point. Then we had Marcus Camby. Marcus was a great defender in the NBA. Great shot blocker, great timing with it. Had Kenyon Martin.
That's right. Oh,
we
my
had
God.
Kurt Thomas.
They did have Kurt Thomas.
And
I forgot about that.
Yes, we did. And this is all, you know, inside guys. And then again, as I said, Pablo Prigioni. Now, he was a rookie compared to other NBA stats or NBA vet stats, but he was on the same level as us because he was playing professional overseas for so many years. Argentina winning championships, and you know had one of his greatest moments beating the U.S. team and you know being from Argentina and winning this championship. So Olympic gold medal. So for Pablo, like, look. This is a veteran team, and now, again, the ball we knew was going through in the post, we knew it was going to Amari. The wing, we knew was going to Melo, and we knew it was going to JR. And then at the time, the young gun point guard, but not too young, was Ray Felton. So we knew that it was going through them, and everybody we mentioned was coming off of the bench for the most part, bar injury. We know we was coming off of the bench. We knew we wasn't going to get a lot of time, but here's the thing that made each one of us as veterans effective for that team. We knew that, okay, if I knew I was going to get 6 minutes that night, guess what? I'm going to go in there balls out for them 6 minutes. And as that vet, I'm not trying to put my personal shit above the team. I'm not trying to go in there and in that 6 minutes, I ain't trying to score 20. No, I still know the ball got to go through Melo. The ball, that was our number 1 and number 2 option, for real. You know, I knew the ball had to go through the younger players. So, yeah, I'm going to do what I need to do to make it easier for them. So, Cat still had that respect the shooting. You know, still had to respect J. Kidd's point guard precision. You still had to respect Kenyon Martin's athleticism. You still had to respect Kurt and Marcus's defensive prowess. So, like, bro. It made it easier for Melo. That's why he won a scoring championship. JR won 6th man of the year. So, you know, I feel like that's part of my trifecta. Even though those guys' names are on the awards, I tell people like, yo, you know I got a scoring title. It's like, man, when you scored this? Look, now you don't need to know all that. I got a scoring title and, you know, I came off the bench one time. I won Sixth Man of the Year. So I sit back and say that shit. But even though
Yeah,
it wasn't me, but it was me.
J.R. and Melo.
I had fun with it. Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll just put a bow on this conversation by just asking the example of John Morant and Steven Adams that we just discussed with having a veteran and looking up to someone like that. Melo, at this point, when you were with the Knicks, had been around a really long time. So I don't know if the experience card is worth as much to Melo as if you were there for John Morant currently. So
It don't matter though. It don't matter. It don't matter. It's still the veteran because Melo didn't have more years than me, J Kidd, Kurt, Marcus, Kenyon, Pablo. He didn't have more years than us. It don't matter. And Melo I think at that time he was a double-digit veteran himself. So he had the other younger guys on the team that was looking up more for him. Shump, you know what I'm saying? That's what stepped Shump game up to be the defender that he was. Steve Novak. He was a good shooter, and I think that was one of the best years where he was shooting from the three, even though he didn't take a lot of shots. But still, it's a ladder.
Interesting. Yeah, I would have never guessed, but very similar to how fraternities work, that you have freshman pledges and the sophomores and juniors
Yes.
are only
Yes.
1 or 2 years above. But listen, I've done this shit for 2 years. That's the way it's not fair. It's just the way it was and the way it works. But it sounds like a very similar structure is in place for the NBA. And even the stars got to show
sure.
They got to show their respects to the wily, been around for a minute veterans, which is, I guess, why LeBron in a way is
simple. It's a pecking order.
Right, of course.
It's a pecking
I mean,
order.
that's
Keep
why
it
LeBron
simple.
is such a unicorn, because he's going to be in the locker room as the best player in year 20 through 23, and he has the most experience. He's the biggest star. He does all of those things, which is, I guess, why he's LeBron and why there's only
He is.
right. I mean, that's why he's so much different than any other many other stars to play the game. Speaking of respecting the game, this is probably a good way to close out today's show. And for those of you that are watching this for the first time, that have found us through an algorithm or a recommended video, welcome, hello. You've made it to this point in the video, so hope you've enjoyed it thus far. We like to wrap up every show. We started off the season by going through different rosters of numbers, but now I have Sheed singling out specific players that may not have gotten the shine or are discussed today because of the way technology has evolved, the way that they should have been. And we call this segment Respect the Game. So I will ask Rasheed today, who should we be respecting their game?
All right, check it out. So today's Respect the Game player, and I need y'all to look him up because, man, this is one of my former teammates. Even though I caught him in his final year, one of my favorite teammates, not only as a player, but as a person. He's very witty about this game. He's a wise ass. He got a lot of wise cracking jokes. And this guy is Mark Price. Okay? So let me tell you this. Mark Price was my veteran, as we talked since we spoke veterans. Mark Price was my veteran my rookie season. I played with Mark Price. And, he was the first Hoff in my career I ever played with. Granted, he didn't get a lot of time, but he got some respectable time. He got some respectable minutes. It was on the way out the door. He had a great career, and I think where I know him from and noticed him from was his years in Cleveland. Now, granted, he was drafted by the Mavericks, but he got that staple being part of that Cleveland team because he had a good pick and roll duo himself with Brad Daugherty. Then, also let's throw a little bit of Ron Harper, Sr., up in that piece too, who he played with. He played with Gerald Wilkins as well, so you got your athleticism. He played with some good players in his tenure at Cleveland. Mark Price he's in ACC record books, with steals and assists. With the NBA, he's in the record books with, again, steals and assists. He was a great underrated player to me. A lot of people didn't really, well, afterwards, because he wasn't one of those point guards that was flamboyant where I got to go out here and score 30 to be recognized. No, he was already on a game plan because he was a facilitator. You know, he didn't worry about scoring himself, even though he knew he could score. He was, again, a great scorer in college at Georgia Tech. So he wasn't worried about scoring, but he made everybody around him better. He made Brad Daugherty better as the big man. He made any other big man, Hot Rod Williams that he played with, made those guys better. Just from little simple decisions as being that great point guard facilitator. So in my book today, Mark Price is one of the top point guards to ever play this game. I will definitely, on all accounts, put him in my top 10 for sure. Today's respect the game player, Mark Price.
Mark Price. And I will just top that off by saying I would consider Mark Price to be Jordan's third adversary. The first of which was the Celtics. The beginning of his career couldn't get over Bird, McHale, and Parrish.
Yep.
Then the Bad Boys was number 2, Isaiah Thomas. But one of Jordan's most famous shots was over Elo. Bulls win, Bulls win, Bulls win. Mark Price captaining that Cleveland team. And while Cleveland never got over the hump against Chicago, they did put up an effort which I would consider to be
hell of a fight.
A hell of a fight, the same way that the Knicks did in the mid-'90s a couple of years later. Jordan had many adversaries, but for 1 or 2 years there, once the Bad Boys started to transition out, those Mark Price Cavaliers were worthy enough to say they were a small hurdle along Jordan's path to serenity, to divinity, whatever you want to call it. But there was a time that Price could go shot for shot with Michael Jordan. We just don't talk about it because, like everyone else, he didn't win. Today's Respect the Game, Mark Price, point guard, Cleveland Cavaliers. On that note, hope you guys enjoyed today's program. Same time, same place, next week. It's funny, if you've made it this far into the show, I come prepared. I send Sheed Sunday night a list of topics or talking points that I may get to at some point in the show, just so he can prepare and, think of things to say like any normal show would. And today we only got through 3 of the 7, which is good news for you guys watching this because I'm probably going to carry some of these over to the following week. And I thought these were all relevant and evergreen topics, but when we have conversation going like this that extends an hour, I almost prefer it as opposed to the rapid fire bullets that I come prepared for. But the good news for those of you watching is that's a tease. We'll have those next week. So once again, that's Roscoe Rasheed Wallace. I'm Rob Perez. I don't know where he is on the when we're editing this, but he's somewhere over here. We will see you next week.
Keep checking this out.